Hello, wonderful listener. Welcome back. Today, I want to tell you the story about how I realized I have been settling with my eyesight. So this story starts 4 years ago. The year is 2020. And the day the story starts was the day I actually got my first only COVID vaccine. I remember it so clearly. So the way it worked when I did it, we would get the vaccine and they made us wait. We had to sit down in a waiting area for 15 minutes before we could go. And they had this black digital clock. It was up because it was like in an arena type space. So the clock almost like the kind of clock they would use in a sporting event, but it was high up and it had red numbers. And I'm waiting for 15 minutes. As usual, I'm on my phone the whole time. I think I was on Instagram or something, just scrolling. And I remember looking up at the clock and it looked blurry. Like it actually kind of freaked me out a little bit, so much that I went to meet them like, yo, my eyesight is blurry. And they checked me out. They like, ma'am, you're fine. Go home. So I went home. And I think because maybe I had heard some other people's side effects from the vaccine, I was in high alert because I'm pretty sure what you'll hear when I tell the story, it'll make sense. But I'm pretty sure whatever was happening did not start that day. Okay. But I started paying attention and I would notice usually it started off with when I was watching TV. Usually when I'm watching TV, if either ads come on or I'm kind of bored what I'm watching, I'll look at my phone. And I noticed that if I've been looking at my phone or my iPad, when I look up at the screen, when I look up at the TV, things would seem a little bit blurry. And I just put it off to blue light. In my head, I spend too much time on the screen because y'all, legit, of my waking hours, maybe 2 hours at best are not spent looking at a screen. So in my head, this was a problem with too much screen time. So I started wearing blue light filter glasses. But again, this was 2020. So I kept noticing it. Again, when I look at my phone, look up, things would seem blurry. In fact, I remember one time walking through the airport, looking at my phone, I looked up, you know how they have those screens at each gate showing what city the airline was. And I remember it looked a bit blurry. In my head, I just needed to spend a little bit less time on the screen. But I still kept saying, you know what? I should go get my eyes tested in case something's wrong. Literally for the past 3 years, 4 years at this point, honestly, this was May 2020. For the past 4 years, I have been getting my eyes tested in my head. It never happened. Anyway, long story short, last year I was visiting my sister in Miami and we were at church on Sunday and we were sitting towards the back of the church. This was last year, towards the back of the church. And as usual, during praise and worship, they had lyrics on a screen. And as I was looking and reading I could read the lyrics, I was singing along, but the words were blurry. And so I would start squinting. I was like, let me just test something out. Cause I was like, why is this so, like, it really was, I could read it, but just not sharp at all. So I would squint and it would get clearer. And in my head, I was like, okay, something's definitely wrong. Because if this was just blue light or, a screen issue, why would it get better when I was squinting? So that made me think something's wrong with my eyes. I really need to get it together. And at the beginning of this year, I was like, I finally need a primary care provider. I don't have one yet. I need to go get eye tests. I scheduled multiple appointments and my eye test was 3 weeks ago. First eye test of my life. It was an experience. It was fascinating. They took pictures of the back of my eyes. They dilated my eyes so they could see my veins. Lots of tests. It took an hour and a half, very comprehensive. And at the end, this is how the optician said it to me. Turns out I am very, very, very slightly nearsighted. Those were his words. And I mean, I didn't feel a type of way, but I was surprised. I was surprised because I have never had trouble with my eyes, with reading anything. In fact, I renewed my license a few months ago. My eyes were fine in the little test that they do. So in my head, I didn't have an eyesight problem. Over the past 4 years, when things have been blurry, it was always in my head screen because I would only notice it when I was looking at my phone or my iPad and I looked up. I would need to blink a few times to reset. Come to find out, according to the optician, that just in case you're curious, that was happening because of the transition from looking at something close to me to looking at something far away. And so because of the very slight nearsightedness, my eyes were having to adjust. And that's why things were blurry. And so they're like, we have a prescription for you. If you're an eye person, I don't know what these numbers mean, but I have a negative 0.50 prescription. And actually, I know that matters because I remember them telling me when I went to, and let me not get ahead of myself. I'm coming, okay? So they tell me they have a prescription for me. And he's like, you probably will only wear it when you're driving at night or when you're watching TV. So I'm like, cool. I mean, I already wear blue light filter glasses. I record videos on Instagram with that. Like, I don't feel a type of way about glasses. So I'm like, whatever, like, sure. If it helps, it helps. And then they told me it would take about 7 to 14 days for the glasses to come. So I thought I would have to wait 2 weeks. I didn't have to wait 2 weeks. Last week, I think it's been about a week now, I got my glasses. The same day I filled a prescription. Oh, this is where I was going. So that day they gave me a prescription and they had an optician right there with the optometrist. So I went in, I picked out my frames. And when she was looking it up, she said, she had to really check my insurance because some insurance companies will not cover prescriptions that are lower than a 0.7 or a negative 0.7. And so that's how I knew that my negative 0.5 was really, really low, because there was a chance that my insurance might not cover it. They covered it, all as well. So I picked up my frames. I love my glasses. I think they're really cute. And then they came a week later and they gave me the glasses. And this is where the story is culminating. And I put on the glasses and I felt like I was a new person. When I tell you, I was amazed. I am still amazed at how much sharper everything is, how much clearer everything is. Like in fact, I wore my glasses. I got to my office. I immediately recorded a video and sent it because I have a group chat with my siblings and my dad, my family. I immediately sent them a message saying, first of all, y'all, your girls got glasses now. I got prescription glasses. But second, bruh, my eyesight, it's like I'm a new person. Everything was sharper. Like I kept putting my glasses, like if you're watching this on YouTube, you can see what I'm doing. If you're listening on the podcast, you can't see. But really, I kept like putting my glasses on and popping them down, putting them on, popping them down, just to compare how things looked. And it is still amazing to me how much I wasn't seen clearly before I got these prescriptions. Like my mind is blown. I've been doing that at my office. There are like posters far away that I'll wear my glasses. I'll take it off like, dang, why everything is so much sharper and clearer. And I only need it for things that are far away. But everything is so much clearer that I told them I need a contact lens appointment because I want to see like this all the time. Like I don't need the glasses, but when I'm wearing the glasses, bruh, I was like, I had been settling with my eyesight for years. I thought I could see well. I thought everything was good. I thought I was proud of my eyesight. I thought I could see things really well. Come to find out, your girl is nearsighted. And now that I have the glasses, I realize how much I had been settling. When I'm driving, when I'm walking around, I want to see this way all the time now because I realize how much better I can see with my glasses on. And over the past week, as I have been super fascinated with my glasses and this new eyesight life, like, yo, I can't wait. I actually can't wait to get contact lenses because I'm like, I need to see like this all the time. But over the past week, as I've been navigating this life of realizing that I have been settling in with my eyesight for so long, I realized that so many women are settling in their careers without knowing it. So many women are settling in their careers without knowing it. Some of that is because society has perpetuated messages that work is meant to be miserable. Some is because they're stuck in workplaces that has really done a number on their self-confidence and made them think they don't have the skills to do anything else. They don't have value to add to any other organization. They're not worth a fulfilling career. They're not worth a value-aligned salary. They have internalized messages that work is just meant to be work and is not meant to be something that you enjoy. And so they're going through the motions day in, day out. They think everything is fine because, hey, I'm getting paid. The bills are paid, roof over my head. I'm doing a job. I have a place to go. So to them, life is good. But when I hear some of the things that are happening at work, some of how they feel, low self-confidence, anxiety when going into work, constant pressure in their belly about going to work, passing out at work, crying on the way to work, feeling like they don't have skills to add anywhere else, value to add anywhere else. When I hear how their physical health, their mental health, their relationships are being impacted, my brain is immediately like, this is not what work is meant to be like. Like work can actually be enjoyable and be fulfilling and be satisfying. And again, over this past week, as I've been, navigating this new eyesight life, it's like I realized that what my optician did for me is what I want to do for women. is what I do for women in my programs. It's like I want to give you glasses to see how unaligned your job is and how that unalignment, that misalignment is making you miserable and unhappy, and how you can experience joy and satisfaction in the work you do. That is literally why I started my company. Literally why I started Her Career Doctor, was because I thought to myself, because I had been working in an agency. So if you don't know my story, to give you a quick background, when I started in my path as a counselor, I started as a school counselor. And this was when I started my career development work. I was doing career development work with my elementary kids. It was so much fun because for me, that was the only time when their learning was about them, and they used to light up when we would do that work. And then when I went to get my PhD, I started working at a career services center at a university. So that was my first sort of foray into career counseling. Was I was working in an agency where whoever walks through my door is who I would work with. And then when I finished my PhD, I went into a faculty role, but I very quickly missed working with clients. Like those 2 years when I was working in a career services center, I realized how much weight career is for people. Like how when you're not sure what's happening in your career, you're not sure what to do next, you're not sure what you're trying to navigate, how that can just be this constant pressure, and how once you feel like you have the answers, once you know what's next in your career, it's like a weight gets lifted off. I saw that with so many of my clients, how that weight would get lifted off. And so when I started doing faculty work, I really missed working with clients. So I knew I was going to start my own business doing career counseling, career coaching work, but I wanted to do it with intentionality. So I asked myself, okay, who do I want to serve? Like, what is this going to look like? And the answer came to me like that. I wanted to serve women because I know that so many women are disenfranchised at work. So many women don't know, haven't been taught, haven't been shown how to make career decisions. And then when they do get in the workplace, they're getting taken advantage of. I saw how so many women make career choices for their families. Nothing wrong with that at all. But it often leaves them feeling like they can't make choices for themselves. Like their career is always at the mercy of somebody else, either a loved one, a partner, kids, whatever it may be. They aren't really making choices that make them feel like themselves, make them feel good about themselves. And so I knew that I wanted to use my company as a way to educate and advocate for women in their career, because I believe wholeheartedly that when more women are satisfied at work, the world benefits. The world is a better place when there are more women who are happy, fulfilled, and satisfied at work. Because one thing about most women is when they are happy, fulfilled, and satisfied, it spills over into everybody else around them. People benefit from it. And so I knew that women had been fed these lies about work and how, again, work is not meant to be good and work is meant to be miserable. And I wanted to start untangling some of those lies for women, because that's not the lens I come from. If you listen to the last episode of the podcast where I talk about activating your faith, you know that I believe that work is a gift from God. We were designed to work, and enjoying your work is a gift from God. And so that was how I got into this work, right? Was to advocate for more women. And my mission is to help more women experience life satisfaction by experiencing career satisfaction, because I know you can't separate those two things. So that's how I got into this space, right? That's how Her Career Doctor was built. That's how Her Career Doctor came to be. And over the past, it's been 2018, 19, 20, 21, 22, 24. I had to count. Over the past, it's going to be 5 years of me running this company, I realized how so many people are walking around completely unaware about how their job is sabotaging their physical health, their mental health, and their relationships. The same way I was walking around not realizing that I couldn't see things far away clearly, that things weren't sharp and crisp the way they could be, that's how I know most people are walking around their career. And I say I know this because I've been working with clients. I've been doing career counseling work for over 10 years now, right? So I know how people are socialized and trained to think about their work. And so my mission is to be the glasses, so to speak, is to help you see what is possible for you in your career, to help you see that there is better out there, that you might be looking and thinking that your current job is your only option, that what you're doing now is the only option, but it's not. It's not. And I know that I've been successful doing that so far because I just think of last year, for example, one of my clients, when she came to me, said she had been unhappy in her job for 15 years. And she knew for those 15 years that she was unhappy, but she didn't know what else she could do, what other options she had. So she just kept going. It was seeing my content on LinkedIn that gave her hope. It was seeing my content on LinkedIn that made her realize that there was better out there for her. And that's why she joined my program, Find a Fulfilling Career, and worked with me. And within 7 weeks was in a new job with a 20% salary increase, a new job that was really aligned with her. The same person who for 15 years thought there was no other option out there for her, right? So I'm saying that I know that I've been successful in doing that work. It's why the podcast exists. It's why my YouTube channel exists. It's why my Instagram exists, is to educate you however I can to help you see clearly what is possible in your career. And I think what clicked for me was just in this past 2 weeks was with getting my glasses and realizing that I had been settling. Like, again, I thought everything was perfectly fine with my eyesight. Until I got glasses, I didn't realize there was a problem. And so for me, it's like, wow, I have been, at the very minimum, I've been settling for 4 years. Minimum, because that's when I noticed the problem. But the problem could have been there years before that. And it's not like I wasn't aware. Remember, I told you, I noticed that things would get blurry. So I had been noticeably settling for 4 years. And then I got the glasses and it was like, whoa. Mind blown. And so as I said, over the past week, as I have been living this newfound life, this glasses life that I love, can't wait to get my contacts, I realized that what I've been experiencing with my eyesight is what a lot of people are experiencing in their careers. They think everything is fine, or they know they have a sort of a sense that something might be wrong, but they just think, oh, it's not a big deal. I can I'll take a quick trip and it'll be fine. I'll do some self-care and it'll be fine. I'll just change jobs. I'll just ask for a raise and it'll be fine. But it doesn't get fine. The blurriness continues. And so I want to be glasses for you to help you see if you've been settling. Have you been thinking that what is happening in your career is all that can happen? And so you've just continued to coast, thinking, you know what, this is just how work is meant to be. And I'm saying that because immediately I got my glasses. I went on my family group. I said, yo, y'all need to go get an eye test. If you're like me and this was your first time ever getting an eye test, go get one. There might not be a problem, but if there is, at least you'll know. I got on my Instagram stories. I was like, y'all, your girl got glasses. And I am amazed. If you haven't gotten an eye test, you need to go get an eye test. Like, I think I told about 20 people that week. And mind you, I got my glasses on a Thursday. So that week was only like 4 days left. I told like 20 people to go get an eye test because, first of all, I had never done one, right? So it's like, I know I'm not alone out here. And so I think that I know. So what I want to wrap up this with, this episode, is I want you to do first of all, I want you to do an eye test, okay? If you're listening to this and you've never done an eye test and you have insurance, find an optometrist, find an optician, do an eye test. Like, the eye test itself, for me, I had a $10 copay. By the time I got my glasses, if not for the additions that I put on there, my glasses could have been just $40 with my insurance. But I did some fancy things. But that aside, I want us to do a career test. The same way my eye test helped me realize that I had been settling with my eyesight, I want you to do a career test to see if you've been settling in your career. I want you to do a career test to see if maybe you've thought this whole time that everything is okay with your career. But one thing I like to remind people is that over your adult lifetime, you will spend 90,000 hours at work. 90,000. 90,000 at minimum. That's minimum, working 40 hours a week. If you're like most of my clients, you're working more than 40 hours a week. And so is your good job good enough for 90,000 hours of your life? Hopefully, I really hope you said no. Like, good enough is not enough. Like, you need better than good enough. You need alignment. You need fulfillment. You need satisfaction. And so if that's you, I want you to do a career test to see if you've been settling, so that if you have, you can course correct. And so to do the test, I put together 5 questions that I'm going to read to you. And I could definitely share more to help you do a test, but I think that these 5 questions are a good starting point for you to audit your job, to do a career test, to see if you've been settling. And based on the answer, if you realize that you have or have not been settling, whatever the answer is, then you need to choose what your next step is going to be. Are you going to get the glasses or not? Are you going to keep settling or not? Are you going to make a change or not? It's up to you. You have the answer, but at the very least, do the test. Okay? So here are the questions. I'm going to read them slowly so that if you're somehow taking notes and you want to write, you can write them down. You could also pause after each question to write it down. The first one is, do you know who you are and what you desire in this season of your life? And is your career aligned with the answer to those 2 things? Do you know who you are? Do you know what you desire in this season of your life? And is your current career or your current job aligned with those 2 things? The second question, on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being the lowest and 10 being the highest, how healthy are you physically, mentally, and relationally? On a scale of 1 to 10, how healthy are you physically, mentally, relationally? If any of those is a 6 or lower, less than a 6, is your job the reason behind the low score? Or is your job contributing to the low score? The third question, when you look back on your last 2 weeks of work, just the last 2 weeks, can you confidently say you were engaged, motivated, and enjoyed your work? No matter if you were in a busy season, if there was a project going on, at the very least, engagement should have been there. So it doesn't have to have been all 3. You might not have enjoyed it, but you could be engaged with something you're not enjoying. So if you look at the last 2 weeks, were you engaged, motivated, and feeling joy, I should say, in your work? The fourth question, does your work make you feel good? Does your work make you feel good? And the fifth question, last question, do you feel valued and respected at work? Do you feel valued and respected at work? I could share a lot more questions to help you do an audit, but I think that those 5 questions are a good starting point for you to do a career test and figure out if you have been settling in your career without knowing it. If you do the career test, I would love to hear from you. You can comment below if you're watching on YouTube. You can slide in my DMs on Instagram if you would like. I'm at Her Career Doctor. If you're on the email list, you can send me an email. Actually, anybody can send me an email, podcast@hercareerdoctor.com. I would just love to hear from you what you discovered from the career test. And if you want to hear, I'll be honest, if you want to hear back from me, if you actually want to engage in a conversation, Instagram is going to be the best place. On Instagram, I'll respond faster. I might even send you a voice note. So if you do the career test, I would love to hear from you, but I don't need to. I just want you to do the career test so you can figure out if you have been settling in your career or not. Thank you for listening to this episode, and I will catch you in the next one.